Good morning, beautiful people. It is January 29th, 2020. Massive show today. Big trust Mark Ingram joins us in a few. Rookie sensation from the Philadelphia Eagles, Miles Sanders, will join us. And the greatest special teamer in the history of the NFL from the New England Patriots, which seem to be falling apart, Matt Slater will also join us. Excited to chat with them about the year that was in the NFL, but now I'd like to pivot to a thought that has come to the forefront of my mind due to what Shaq said last night and what a couple of NFL OGs have said to me in private via text since the passing of the legend Kobe Bryant. I think the overwhelming disbelief about his passing was a real one, had by almost everybody. And to be honest, that's the actual first stage of grief, denial. The next stage of grief is anger, which I think a lot of folks experience as well. Whether it was with the pilot choosing to do a visual flight rule path on a day where there was no visibility, or with anything else involved in this incredibly sad and tragic event. I think a lot of people felt discontentment, if not actual anger about the whole thing. The next stage of grief is bargaining, then depression, then finally acceptance. I'm not sure everybody is at the acceptance stage of this loss yet, but I do know we are at a stage where I think folks are trying to change their life and their attitudes from the abrupt passing of a legend. A lot of people have buried hatchets and beefs with people due to this. Folks have decided to be better humans. Perspective has a way of doing that in all walks, especially when you lose a legend. Now, last night Shaq said, amongst other things, that although he was an incredibly hard worker, this event is going to change the way he is with how he interacts with his loved ones and the time he chooses to spend with his friends and family. If you haven't heard it, you should listen to it. He said he hadn't physically talked to Kobe since the night he dropped 60 after Shaq asked Kobe to drop 50. I'm sure they texted, but you could tell that Shaq was shook by the fact that they didn't have more face-to-face time. I've had a few text message conversations with NFL OGs, Hall of Famers, that said this sudden passing has them completely rattled about how they choose and chose to spend their time on this earth. Many of us professional athletes' sole focus is on being great at a sport, trying to emulate that Mamba mentality, spending months away from our families to get great at a craft. And even when we're home, we're not actually present in the moment to be the best father, husband, partner, whatever it is that you could possibly be. In most Hall of Fame speeches, you'll hear the player apologize to their children for not being around enough. You'll hear them thank their wife for the unconditional support and holding the house together. It's just a part of being elite at something. It has to be your number one priority. Everything else in your life comes second, even your family. And although you're working to make a lot of money and provide an incredible life for your loved ones, oftentimes the amount of dedicated hours to the family is what gets shortened in this strive for excellence. I wonder if a ripple effect from Kobe's passing will be players from all sports deciding to walk away from the sports that they mastered to spend more time with the people they love. One OG asked me, what do you think Kobe would have changed if he knew that this was going to happen? Would he have walked away earlier? Would he have wanted to spend more time with Gianna and his other beautiful children and wife in lieu of an extra $100 million? None of us will ever be able to answer that question, but I think it's something a lot of professional athletes will ponder when ultimately making the decision in what they want to do with their lives and their lives' priorities moving forward. I think when you hear the science come out about concussions and when you hear these things talked about the future health of these athletes, and now you add into the fact that it has been cemented and driven home so hard that all of this can end abruptly and immediately, I think what Shaq said last night echoes the sentiments of athletes and Hall of Famers in all sports, that you have to prioritize time with things that truly matter. And I think a lot of people are asking themselves, have they focused on the things that truly matter enough? And I'll be excited to see the ripple effect of this across all sports. It's Wednesday, January 29th, 2020. I'm excited to see how that works out. Can't wait to talk to our guest today. We're going to have a good one here in Indianapolis, Indiana. Foxy, please play some Chase Rice.
It's the perfect occasion for a little vacation from the heart of the nation. Not your medication, 2 hours of magic. Let's give it a go. Ladies and gents, it's the Pat McAfee Show.
You're damn right it is Chase Rice. Great job on The Bachelor, by the way, on Monday night. I got to watch the clip. I don't watch The Bachelor, but I watched the clip. He handled that thing like a G.
Oh, yeah.
He really did. I'm happy for him. He's currently in Amsterdam right now, having the time of his life. I got a chance to text with him yesterday. If you haven't heard his album, it's good. Almost as good as that song. I think our intro song is potentially going to be on the album part 2. We'll be excited to find out. All the boys are here. Gumpy's on the couch. Nick Moraldo's here. Diggs is here. Ty's here. Jason's here. Zito's here. Foxy's here. Uncle Todd's on the phones. 1-833-622-3331. Going to be honest, it might be tough to get to the phones today with how many phone calls we have and things we got to talk about. I didn't introduce Connor Campbell, Boston Connor, at the beginning there because at Boston Connor's here. Yesterday, Rob Gronkowski, while doing a press conference, which I didn't know happens, I didn't know that people just have press conferences. Rob Gronkowski had a press conference, and every time Rob Gronkowski speaks, although his delivery can turn some people off, right? He is a meathead. That's what he is. He's happy. But if you listen to the word that he's actually saying, he's actually a very intelligent individual. That's all anybody ever says that knows him. It's like, hey, he's much smarter than you think he is, and he would have to be able to build up this brand that he's built up into this magnificent fashion. Now, what he said yesterday, much to the chagrin of all of New England, including Connor Campbell, he said that he thinks Tom Brady should test the waters as a free agent just to see what's out there. He said he hasn't talked to him about it, but he thinks that he is officially, you're done with Rob Gronkowski.
I am out on Rob Gronkowski. Completely out. He joined TikTok. I mean, give me a break. And let's keep in mind, this guy threatened to retire when the New England Patriots thought about getting rid of him.
Well, I think that's probably why he has this feeling is at one point the Patriots, he was the best tight end in the game. He was battling through back injuries and all these things. And they were like, yeah, we're just going to send you to Detroit. And he was like, well, I'm not doing that. And then I think that was when the retirement thoughts might have started. I think if you all pan back when Rob Gronkowski truly started to contemplate retirement, I think it all revolves around that situation. And now he's looking out for a friend of his. And, of course, massholes just can't handle it. That is something. So you're out on him. How about Scarnecchia retiring yesterday, the offensive line coach? How about Joe Judge being gone? How about all these things? Is it at a point where you're looking at the mirror of a fan that used to be a fan of a dynasty, and now it's going to be a brand new day with a whole new operation up there in New England?
Scarnecchia will be back. He's retired before. He took a year off and realized that his life is nothing without football, so he will be a Patriots head coach again.
After everything I just said.
He loves football. He lives for it. He will be back, just like Belichick, who will be the coach for the next 15 years probably.
He's not coming back to a 3-12 team.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
You have to think
13.
in 2020, maybe the Patriot way just doesn't play anymore.
Well,
They said that a few years ago, too.
Yeah, but not in 2020.
he did specify that we are only 29 days into this particular year. So there's no way that you could say that it was before because he mentioned that this 29 days, 2020, is a whole new year. It'll be interesting to see what Tom Brady does, especially because there's been conflicting reports on what's happening with Phillip Rivers and the Chargers. Now, Ian Rappaport says that the Chargers are not done or haven't made a decision about being done with Phillip Rivers. Jay Glazer, as a pundit, said, now this is an interesting thing because Jay Glazer, insider in the NFL. That's how he's made his living, being an insider. He's on the Fox NFL kickoff show, one of the biggest kickoff shows, as being an insider. They send it over to him. He's in a 3-piece suit. He's in front of a screen. This guy's in, this guy's out. This guy's doing this. This guy's doing this. He's an insider. He knows everything that's happening, it feels like. He's got people working out at his gym in Hollywood on a regular basis telling him the ins and outs. So whenever he and Schefter do these shows and they're answering questions that are opinion-based, it's always a very fine, delicate balance that you have to take whenever you're listening to it. Jay Glazer said to Colin Cowherd that he thought that Phillip Rivers and the Chargers were done. So immediately when an insider says something like that, you go, well, there we go. This guy just said that he's done. He must know something. Then Rappaport comes out. Insider war starts happening with this. He's like, is that right? I gotta check my sources. And he says, no, they have not made a decision yet. But I think all signs point to Phillip Rivers moving from San Diego, which he wouldn't even move to L.A., by the way. He wouldn't even move 3 hours north. He moves his entire family across the country to be close with his family. Let's assume that maybe the Chargers aren't done with Phillip Rivers. I think Phillip Rivers is done with the Chargers. So I am not an insider. I'm not a pundit, but I'm just putting things together. If this, then this. So is Tom Brady going to go to the Chargers like we said back in October? Is this going to happen? I don't know. Is Drew Brees, with what I said with that monologue about how this ripple effect from the Kobe Bryant abrupt passing, is that going to affect whether or not he's going to come back and play another year when he has a lot of kids, a lot of family, a lot of business? Is he going to want to continue to play another year? Cameron Jordan on Get Up this morning or on First Things First this morning. I forget what First Things First this morning.
Yep.
He said that team, we are just going to act as if Drew Brees is coming back. He is the soul of our team. There's a lot of decisions to be made around the quarterback thing, but it almost feels as if Tom Brady's decision has been made, and everybody knows it, and that's why they're getting off of the ship. And Gronkowski is a media guy. He's not going to say something wrong, right?
No, definitely not.
He's not going to come out and if he's friends with a guy say, oh, I think you should just go back to the Patriots. And then whenever Tom goes and seeks other places, well, then Gronk doesn't even look like he's an actual friend with the guy. Then it kind of puts his credibility in jeopardy. So I would assume that Tom is definitely going to go ahead and test the waters, and I think all places are in play for him. I'll be excited to see what happens with Phillip Rivers if he ends up at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A lot of people are saying maybe the Colts. Tom Brady, wherever he's going to end up at. Now you got Drew Brees, we got him on Friday. I will ask him straight up if he's going to retire or not. He won't answer. He'll dance around it, but I'll be excited to hear that. Teddy Bridgewater, they're saying Taysom Hill. It's going to be an exciting offseason. None of it involves the Baltimore Ravens, though, which are one of the most exciting teams in the NFL this year. We got to get to a break. On the other side, we have big trust, Heisman winner, national champion, Mark Ingram joining us. What happened against the Titans? What happened? He was injured. Were they rusty? Will they be stopped next year? I'll ask Mark Ingram all these things from the University of Alabama. Roll Tide. Mark Ingram joins us. This is the Pat McAfee Show. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here Wednesday, January 29th, 2020, 17 minutes after the first hour. We're being joined by a national champion, a Heisman winner, representing Gatorade, specifically Bolt 24, Baltimore Ravens running back, Big Trust, Mark Ingram.
What's up?
Hey, your hype for Lamar Jackson was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in my entire life. This year seemed like it was a great time to be a Baltimore Raven. Am I wrong in thinking that?
No, it was a special time in Baltimore. We have a special team in Baltimore, obviously a special quarterback. So just to be a part of that, be able to contribute a little bit, it was a special season. Obviously, we ain't finished the way we wanted, but we're going right back to work. And we got goals to win the Super Bowl next year in Tampa. So we right back at it again.
You guys were must-see television every time you got on the field. I mean, now granted, a massive part of option football is the running back being a weapon every single time. And a lot of people thought that when your calf injury happened and going into the playoff game with you potentially not being at 100%, that was going to affect things. You said it didn't end the way you guys wanted to. I think everybody in this room projected you guys to win the Super Bowl, as did you guys because of how good you were. What do you think was the issue with that? Was it the rust of taking a couple weeks off, or was it just some days you're not clicking?
I don't think it was the rush, man. I just think every single snap, every single play matters so much in the playoffs, because every single mistake is magnified because it's one game elimination. I think you could point out a couple plays in that game where we didn't have success and Tennessee capitalized on. I think, the game is as simple as that, so we had a couple turnovers, a couple fourth down stops that essentially are turnovers, and that they're able to capitalize on. And before you know it, the game is upside down, and you're playing in the game trying to catch up, and eventually you run out of time. So we just have to be focused and get back to the drawing board, man.
Coach Harbaugh was very aggressive this year on fourth downs. Very aggressive. Whenever you have the offense that you guys had with that offensive line, with you, with Lamar, with the way everything was clicking, that was something that was a real weapon for you guys all year, is this ability not to give the ball back. We're using all four downs. This is four-down territory in all aspects. Was that something that Harbaugh talked to you guys early, when you guys started clicking, hey, this is going to be something we're going to use as a weapon this year. We're going to do things that no other teams will do.
Yeah, man, we just knew that we were going to be aggressive. We knew early in the season when we went into Kansas City, we knew we were going to be aggressive. We knew if we got into fourth and short, we were going to think the odds were in our favor, that we were going to be able to get it. So we had that aggressive mentality all year. Coach Harbaugh had an aggressive mentality all year. Our OC, our O-line, whoever it is, we had that aggressive mentality, and we know on fourth down we got to get it. We got to keep the ball away from the offense and from the opposing offense and keep the ball on our side. So, that's the aggressive mentality we had, and we believe in each other that way.
Let's talk about that Heisman package. What a hilarious troll. What a hilarious flex, but a real weapon for you guys. You have 3 Heisman winners, which normally, by the way, you don't seem to be this way. Neither does Lamar Jackson or RG3 at this stage of his life. But sometimes Heisman winners or people that have a lot of success in college can have massive egos. It feels as if you guys have just bought in completely to each other to try to make each other better. What is it about the guys and the chemistry in that locker room that have made you kind of put the egos aside, not get altered by the success, and just keep moving forward?
I think we just have a great group of guys, man. Guys who understand the value of hard work, understand the value of dedication, understand on one day at a time that you're only as strong as your weakest link. We have guys who care about each other genuinely, love each other genuinely, spend time with each other off and on the field. And I just think when you have a bond like that in a locker room, a camaraderie like that within your locker room, it's hard to be beat, man. It's a special feeling, it's a special vibe, and you all thrive off each other. We all try to make each other better. We all try to do whatever we can to help us win the championship. And when you have a whole entire organization on one chord like that, it's special.
You guys have a great quarterback in Lamar Jackson. Did you guys have any idea that he was going to be able to become the player that he was this past year?
I think everybody in this organization believed in him. Obviously, they did, making him the starter. And just me coming in as a free agent, you could tell that every single person in that locker room believed in Lamar, wanted to do everything they can to help Lamar succeed. So I think everybody believed in him. Everybody knew that he was capable of accomplishing these things. And we just want to do the best we can to make his job as easy as possible.
Next year, now, listen, I've been a part of some very good teams, very lucky to ride the coattails of very good teams. to be able to accomplish what you guys accomplished this past year, again next year, would be an insane feat. I mean, it would be an absolutely insane feat, especially in the NFL. You've been around the NFL. Defensive coordinators get paid millions of dollars as well. Do you guys expect the same type of success running the same type of offense, or are you guys going to have to change it up a little bit, you think?
We expect to have more success.
Let's go!
You know what I mean? So, of course, defensive coordinators are going to try to come up with things to stop us, but we're going to come up with things to keep having success. We have great offensive coordinator, great offensive minds, great athletes on the offensive line. So we're just going to try to get stronger, bring back our guys, get stronger, get better, and we're trying to have more success next year and be at that Super Bowl in Tampa. So that's what we're working for.
When Marcus Peters was traded to the Baltimore Ravens, you heard all of the LA Rams come out and say, hey, this guy was an incredible teammate. He was good in the locker room, because there's this kind of cliche, I don't want to say cliche, but kind of like there's a lot of bad hype PR around Marcus Peters because of maybe how aggressive he is, because he talks, because he gets into a fight. But all of the LA Rams players came out and were like, hey, this guy was a good teammate. He was nothing but everything we asked for. When he got to that Ravens defense, it feels as almost your team took another step forward. What was Marcus Peters' addition to the locker room like?
Man, it was huge. I mean, he was huge. And like you said, I don't know where that stigma comes from, because this guy is an amazing teammate. There's not a guy that I'd rather play with. And he rides for his teammates, man. Like, he cares about his teammates. He loves his teammates. And if you're not his teammates, he don't care about you. So that's what I love. And he goes out every single Sunday, every single day. He's a professional, has a great work ethic, and he instantly made our defense better. As you can see, his first game with us was Seattle. He had a huge pick six for us. We jumped the route, returned it for a touchdown, and that essentially was the difference in our game, getting a tough road win in Seattle. So the presence he brings, the leadership he brings, the experience he brings, and the playmaking ability he brings was essential for us to be a great team.
Well, I enjoyed watching him over there. I enjoyed watching your team come together. This weekend, obviously, massive game. And you're a man with a very high football IQ. And although you guys aren't in the game like we all wished, including us, including you, this is a old school football versus new school football is what everybody says. And I'm sure that was said about you guys a lot. You guys heard that as well. This Niners team, they only passed the ball 8 times in the NFC Championship game because they were able to run all over the pass. I mean, they were able to do whatever the hell they wanted to the pass. 186 yards before contact for Mostert. Hey,
Wow.
Hey.
As a running back, you love that.
Hey, that's a big deal. This week,
180 before contact? Sheesh.
yeah, you can play for 45 years if you're able to do that. But
Dang right.
this weekend, obviously, that Chiefs offense is incredible. They've really hit a stride here, right? They've been able to get hot. They've been able to flip a switch and score 28 points like this. How do you see this weekend's game going off?
Man, I think it's going to be a great game, man. You have a strong defense, great pass rushers, versus an elite quarterback, super fast, cheetah wide receivers, you know what I mean? Good running back, solid O-line, and then you got the Chiefs defense versus the 49ers offense, who, like you said, the smash mouth, bloody football, want to hit you in the mouth, want to run the ball, be physical with you. I think it's going to be a great football game. I think it's going to be great football for all football fans around. But, man, I think it's going to be a close, tough, hard-fought game, but it's going to be hard, man, because you got to score with that Pat Mahomes, and he just kind of does his thing, man. He just kind of makes it happen. You don't know what's going to happen or how you're going to do it, but he kind of always makes it happen. So I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen.
That D-line for the Niners eats, right? That's what they do. They eat. Is that something they eat? I mean, it's next level. Yeah. As a running back, right, pass pro is a big deal, right? I mean, pass protection is a massive deal. Is that something that you know going into the game, like, hey, I'm going to have to at least chip this guy if I get out of the backfield? I'm going to have to do something like this?
1,000%. You know that they generate pass rush from just their front four. So anytime, you know, they bring pressure with their backers and their DBs too. So you have to be aware of your secondary pressure. But if you have no pressure as a running back, you definitely want to help chip on the end or swab through the A or B gap. Wherever you can help, wherever you see that you need, your assistance is needed, that's where you need to be assisting at, because you want to give the quarterback some time to deliver that football, because that pass rush can get to him quickly and ruin the game for you if you don't account for him.
Mark, you were in New Orleans for a long time. Do you think Drew's got a few more years left in him, or do you think he's going to walk away?
Man, I think Drew he can play at a high level for at least a few more years, man. But whatever he decides to do, he's a legend. He's the GOAT. He deserves whatever he decides, man. If he decides to keep playing, I'm sure he's going to have New Orleans right at the top of the NFC contention again. And if he decides to stop, man, he's just going to be a great father, a great husband, and a great asset to the world in general, man. He's just a great human being, a great father, great husband, great person to be around. So I wish nothing but the best for Drew. I love Drew with all my heart. That's my guy for life.
Mark, everywhere you go, there's success.
Excuse me?
Everywhere you go, there's success.
Hey, man, I'm glad that's the case, man. I'm glad that's the case. I just try to hold up my end of the bargain, try to be the best I can to help the greater cause be successful, man. So that's all I'm doing.
I don't think locker room camaraderie gets talked about enough as an X factor. I honestly don't think that. Every good team I was on, the team liked each other. Every bad team I was on, there was cliques. I assume you're a massive part of that and take a lot of pride in the locker room camaraderie.
Man, I just try to be a genuine person. I just try to be myself. When I got to New Orleans, they allowed me to be myself. When I got to Baltimore immediately, the guys accepted me, embraced me, allowed me to be myself. When I could be myself, I think I just am able to show love. I'm able to show my energy, and it's just genuine, man. You can't fabricate that. It has to be genuine. It has to happen naturally. And I've just been blessed to be in situations where I've been able to show my personality and my energy naturally to my teammates and to everyone around me.
Yeah, you've done a great job. What the hell is Bolt 24?
Hey, man, Gatorade. I've been drinking Gatorade. You've been drinking Gatorade. During activity, you kind of always do that. So Bolt 24 by Gatorade is the off-the-field hydration drink.
Let's go.
It has everything you need to perform at an optimal high level. Antioxidants, electrolytes, vitamins, no artificial flavor. We got the watermelon strawberry right here, fire flavor. Like a Jolly Rancher, you feel me? In a bottle. No. But yeah, so off the field hydration drink, keep me right, performing at an optimal level. Got to stay hydrated, my peoples.
What is your off season like? Will you take a trip? What will you do?
Oh, of course, man. Definitely some trips. After this week's working on Super Bowl, me and the wife, we're gonna fly with the kids to the Cayman Islands.
Ooh.
Be on the beach, relaxing with the kids. Come back, relax a little bit. Then me and her will take a trip by ourselves without the kids.
Hey.
Come back. I might take a trip with the homies. So it's traveling. You know what I mean? Traveling, grinding, spending time with the family. Just enjoying life, man, with the people I love.
Hey, Heisman winner, national champion. I assume he's going to be a Super Bowl champ within the next couple of years with the Ravens.
Yes, sir. We need that.
Jesus. From Radio Row with Gatorade and Bolt 24, Mark Ingram, Big Trust. We appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you, man.
Cheers, dude.
Yes, sir.
Hey, he's good. Everywhere he's been, there's been success.
Mm-hmm. That is wild.
I didn't ask about the pass interference.
Call him back.
We're past that.
Call him back. It was a good conversation with him. I appreciate him.
We all know what happened there.
What's that?
It was pass interference.
Clearly. The NFL knows. They tried to put in a rule, but Alberto Riveron refused to live by it. There's this guy. Big thanks to him, by the way.
Yeah.
So, by the way, Dan Lebatard did this whenever I was down on Radio Row. Just set up a camera at Radio Row so you have a presence at Radio Row, but you don't have to actually be at Radio Row. That is what we're currently doing.
Smart.
I'm happy it just worked there with Mark Ingram. We'll get Miles Sanders here in 10 minutes. Matt Slater had to cancel due to the flu hitting his family, which is not good. I wish I could have talked to him about a little bit more about the Patriots potentially falling completely apart.
Whoa.
We'll talk to him in the next couple weeks or months, though, for sure. And then tomorrow we have a stacked lineup from Radio Row. And then Friday morning, we're down there leading off the show with Drew Brees. Aaron Donald starts the second hour. Matt Patricia will be joining us. Aaron Jones will be joining us. Who else?
Nate Burleson.
Nate Burleson. I mean, I'm excited for Friday. But we got a tiny little set. Tiny little set. There's this guy in Philadelphia that we've been hearing about for years, and we've been telling you all about his diamonds. If you've ever been to Philadelphia, you've seen it on the billboards, you've heard it on the radio. I hate Steven Singer. He's been making it too easy to buy gifts for over 4 decades. I know we just made it through Christmas and New Year's, but Valentine's Day is right around the corner. You're probably thinking, I'll just get her flowers again. But flowers die and end up in the trash can within a week. Give her a gift that will last as long as your love. A real 24-karat gold-dipped rose from Steven Singer Jewelers. Picture it. A real long-stem rose preserved and dipped in 24-karat pure gold. This real rose will last forever and comes with a lifetime guarantee, shipped for free in a beautiful gift box with your own personalized message of love. These roses won't wilt or die. They don't even need water and will remind her each and every day of your love. If this is your first, Steven's Signature Red Rose is a classic at only $59. Go online to IHateStevenSinger.com. Click on the roses and become a hero this Valentine's Day. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. Steven Singer Jewelers, one place, one price. We're back on the other side. We got Miles Sanders from the Philadelphia Eagles joining us. This is going to be fun. This is a good day. Happy Wednesday, January 29th. This is the Pat McAfee Show. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. This is why you can't take the internet serious. William at _WSAK tweets, it's Super Bowl week, and we have this guy talking about his eliminated team on the show, talking about Mark Ingram. Yeah, what do you want us to do, bub? That's what happens during Super Bowl week, you buffoon. You dumbass. Guess what? Terry Bradshaw's team's also out this year. Not going to win the Super Bowl. Drew Brees also not going to win the Super Bowl this year. It's kind of what Radio Row is. You dummy. Remember that whenever you get a tweet from somebody that you don't like. Remember, there's no filter on Twitter that filters out the dumb people of our society. They are also given a platform, although they shouldn't be. That is one of the downfalls of social media, is that there is no idiot filter. Mm-hmm. So you just have to cipher through the dummies to find the good stuff. But William at _WSAK is obviously one of the dumbest to ever encounter the internet. Let's get to some news that we missed before we get Miles Sanders in. Nick, please.
Mike Krzyzewski, Coach K, visibly frustrated last night, began to yell at Duke's Cameron Crazies when they began to taunt Pitt head coach Jeff Capel. Sit with us, I believe they were chanting. Capel, now the head coach at Pitt, used to coach at Duke.
Yeah, I didn't understand why Coach K got so upset about this, but I respect the fact that he's willing to go yell at the Cameron Crazies, the drunk white kids that yell at basketball players.
You don't disrespect one of your own.
Come sit with us.
What do you mean?
It's an invitation.
We've been in a student section, you and I, together.
Yeah.
If we ever chanted, come sit with us to somebody, we would mock ourselves for such a weak chant.
Correct. 1,000% correct.
And that's what Coach K gets mad about?
We don't go to Duke.
We would never. True. Very true. I like that Coach K is trying to tame the Cameron Crazies for going after one of their own. I just didn't think that particular chant warranted, except maybe we're missing one of the chants. But looking at all of the young whites, like, kind of look like they're getting scolded by their father, there was a magical moment in college basketball.
We had much worse chants, so we got suspended for.
Yep, that is a fact. We'll move on. Nick, any other news?
Rest in peace to Hall of Famer defensive end Chris Dolman from the Minnesota Vikings, passed away late last night with a battle with brain cancer. He was 58 years old.
Moment of silence for Mr. Dolman. Moment passed. Brain cancer will scare the hell out of you, won't it?
Yeah.
I mean, any type of cancer will scare the hell out of you, but I watched Curb Your Enthusiasm
Upset too.
from Sunday. It was all right, man. I mean, I get it. I get why people love it. I get it. But, boy, you're just forcing 400 jokes into something.
Oh, yeah.
You're just walking. It's Seinfeld. It is 100%
it is.
Seinfeld, but on HBO. I laughed a lot. I had a lot of things. It's cancer.
The No More Friends?
Yeah, having no more friends, making the toast. I get why people like it, but I'm only 2 episodes in. I think I'll have to watch more. I think it could be like a digest more and more type thing, but I get why people enjoy it. Here's another person I enjoyed watching this year. Up for the Pepsi Rookie of the Year, which is no small feat. It normally takes people a long time to adjust to life in the NFL, especially if you're not a first-round draft pick. This guy is a running back from Penn State, had to sit behind Saquon Barkley. Only he and Saquon Barkley, since the year 2000, are NFL running backs who have rushed for 800 yards and received for 500 yards. This guy from the Penn State University, Philadelphia Eagle fly, on the road to victory. At Booby Miles Sanders.
Thanks for having me, man.
Did you spend your entire rookie check on that chain that you have on right now?
Nah, I didn't.
Hey, that thing is nice, flexy. You got 3 on. How many chains you got on down there?
I got 3. I got 2 ropes and a Cuban link.
Hey, good for you, Miles. You deserve it, by the way. All the cash and all the hard work that you've put in your entire life has paid off this entire year. You're up for the Pepsi Rookie of the Year. How massive an award would this be to add to your collection?
Oh man, yeah. All I can say is it'll be a blessing, man. And can't do it without the man upstairs that's working all this, And it'll mean so much to me, to the point of bringing me to tears, man. All the hard work that I've done to get to this point. Everything that my mom has done for me to get to this point. So it'll just be a blessing.
Okay, let's talk about that. You decided to go to Penn State. You were the number 1 ranked recruit coming out. You go to Penn State, and the story told, if it's accurate, is that you thought you were going to be running back by committee with Saquon Barkley. Then you get there, and it's a completely different animal. I'm assuming you got to learn a lot from Saquon, though. Would you go back and do anything different to get more time in college, or would you still take that time learning from Saquon Barkley?
I don't think that I can say there's anything that I can do differently. Saquon's a heck of a player, and it was just his time. He got there a year before me, and he blew up, and they kind of just kept him stuck with him. And I understand that, but I just had to really prepare myself until I got my chance. And I learned a lot from him as far as just the little things. Really, can't really teach the stuff or learn from the stuff that he does on the field. He's a once in a decade type of player, and just keeping my body right. That's the main thing that I really got off of him, just making sure your body's healthy, because your best ability is your availability, and just as far as eating right, doing little stuff, watching extra film and stuff like that. Getting in early, leaving late, just stuff like that. Just grinding. That's what I got from him.
Saquon's a stud. And as I said in the opening there, you two are the only two rookies since the year 2000 to rush for 800 yards and receive for 500 yards. This year, a lot of injuries on the Philadelphia Eagles. You became a real weapon for Carson Wentz and that Eagles team. What was the expectations going in on yourself in your rookie year of the NFL? Because it's not an easy thing to jump from college to the NFL, especially a running back.
Yeah, you just said it. It's not easy at all. And had a lot of stuff that I had to get used to. My expectations was to go out and just give him my all, really. Not really test the waters, because you don't really have time to be doing that once you get to this league. It's not like college where you redshirt and stuff like that. But I think it started off a little slow. I felt like I was still effective in the beginning, but kind of really took over the second half of the season, when guys started getting banged up, and I really had no choice but to just raise my game to another level, and that's what I want to keep doing. As far as coming in the next season, I just want to raise it to another level and just be effective.
What's a misconception about Carson Wentz that people don't know? What's a misconception about Carson Wentz? There's a lot of things said about Carson Wentz. He might be one of the most polarizing great quarterbacks out there because of Nick Foles winning the Super Bowl the year that people forget that Carson Wentz, the beginning of that year was incredible until he got hurt. Nick Foles just came in and did well. Then it's kind of, what have you done for me lately? This year, a lot of injuries. Carson Wentz did an incredible job coming back at the end, as did you. What did you learn from Carson Wentz, or what's a misconception about Carson Wentz, you think?
I say his leadership. I don't think anybody really knows how big his leadership was this season. He was a big part of the season as far as really offensively. With all the guys getting banged up, or starting guys getting banged up, it didn't really matter to him who was out there, and he just gave us the confidence and allowed us to go out there and make plays for him. And that's what I love about him, and the stuff that he said in the huddle and locker room. During the week, he's not really trying to get the receivers that we had to be comfortable with the plays that they run through. And they were kind of really just acting like what's comfortable with them, trying to get to know them better, as far as with their game is, so we have a better chance of executing on Sunday. So that's what I love about him, though. He's a good leader.
What's something that's said inside the huddle? I've never been inside of a huddle. That's a factual statement. We had one, I guess. There was a timeout before an icing of a kick that we huddled on the field because we were already out there. It was only a 30-second huddle. I tried to crack a joke. it didn't go great. But inside the huddle, Carson Wentz, I'm sure he's a commanding presence, but what is something he'll say to kind of get the thing going? What is the huddle like in there?
He'll say, man, let's just ball out and have fun, man. Be a playmaker, be a dog, all that stuff. I like stuff like that, man. Be a dog. And he say that to me every game, and that'll just get me ready, That's the type of lingo I'm used to, and he'll bring it out of me.
Carson Wentz is from where? North Dakota?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know where he got it from, but.
Okay, so you're about to go into a time, and you're in it right now. For the first time in your entire life, I would assume, this happened for me. You have money, and you have free time. What is something you're going to do, Miles Sanders?
I don't do a lot. Anybody that I know or knows me can say the same thing. I don't do a lot. We're like homebody, I could say. So I'm not worried about the money situation. I think I'm pretty cool there. My mom handles everything too. So really, as far as like in season, I'll probably just main thing when I get home from the facility and stuff is just relax. Watch film if I really have to. Really just relax, and take care of my body in my free time. As far as now that I got a lot of free time, I've been busy doing stuff like this, so keep me out of trouble at the same time too.
I'll be interested to see what you do because after this, my rookie year, we went to the Super Bowl, and then everything just stops, right? Your coaches stop reaching out to you because they're going on vacations too. Everybody kind of just disappears. Your teammates.
Not my coach. Deuce is still calling me. I don't know why, but he's still calling me.
Because you got a lot of promise, man. He sees a lot of promise in you, so he wants to keep you on straight.
Yeah.
This rookie offseason, though, is one where a lot of people, get a chance to get freedom for the first time in their lives, and a lot can happen. I'll be excited to see what you do with it. I can't wait to see you come back even better. Now, 2 times in this conversation, you've mentioned your mother. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that? The mom's the lady, huh? She handles your money. She handles everything. She's kind of taking care of.
That's my rock. That's the person I do everything for, man. She sacrificed so much for me. I can't even put into words how much I appreciate her as far as calling off work every Friday starting from high school to make sure I'm at my games, calling off weekend days, weekdays for me to go to camps and take me to visits and stuff like that. Driving 10 hours from Pittsburgh to Iowa to see me play in Iowa, stuff like that. So the stuff like that I'll never forget. And I just hope that she knows how much I appreciate it, that's all. And this is all I'm doing it for.
WOODY. Woody. That's the same. That's where my mom went to school. You graduated from the same school as my mom. Stevie Breston, Ryan Mundy, Rob Gronkowski, Booby Miles Sanders, all graduates with Sally McAfee School. I respect that.
I bet.
Hey, do you have a speech prepared for if you win the Rookie of the Year?
No, I don't. I'm going to go from the heart.
Hey, don't. No. Miles, have a little something. Right? Don't just go up there and just freeze. Are you going to freestyle that thing?
That's what I've been doing. I mean, I don't really come in really with something to say. I just freestyle, say what's on my mind.
I respect it. All right. Make sure you have 7 chains on when you win that thing. Ladies and gentlemen, up for the Pepsi Rookie of the Year, stud running back from the Philadelphia Eagles. Can't wait to see what you do with the rest of your career. You said Saquon's a once-in-a-decade running back. You could be the same, so you two could be 2 of a decade. Miles Sanders. Thank you, Miles.
Thank you.
Cheers, man. You can't go into that award freestyling that. You got to have at least a little bit of direction.
An outline or something.
You got to have something. Like I go up on, when I do stand-up, I have never practiced any of the stories that I'm telling in front of a stage. It's normally the first time I'm telling the stories to people that I don't know. But even I have a little bit of a plan on where I'm headed. He should have a plan. I don't know if he will, but he should have some sort of plan whenever he gets up.
If he sticks to just talking about his mom and thanking his mom, I think he'll be all right because
I agree.
It seems very passionate about it. And he's definitely going to cry.
So he graduated from Sally McAfee School.
Yes.
Which is pretty awesome. Western Pennsylvania guy. People forget Rob Gronkowski, Western Pennsylvania guy, because he got expelled from his school in Buffalo for sending an email, I guess late night, that he didn't think would get tracked back to him.
Not Gronk.
I think that's the story. I think I've heard conflicting stories, but the story that is most true that I've heard is he sent an email as a joke to somebody. And then that got taken. It was like not like a threat or anything. It was like a joke to somebody. And then it got tracked right back to him. And they're like, you can't go here anymore. He's like, all right, I'll just go to this dominant school in Western Pennsylvania that has like 7 professional athletes. Let's get to the phones real quick. Ben in Boston. Masshole Ben, what's going on, pal?
How's it going, Pat? How you doing?
Not too shabby, Ben. I appreciate you calling in. What do you want to talk about? You want to talk about Tom Brady leaving, Scarnecchia leaving, Gronk?
Talk to the punter of the decade. Give yourself a pat on the back there.
Thank you.
I'm kind of disappointed that Slate wasn't going to be on.
Me too.
Later. I was kind of looking forward to that. On the question, I know you got a call from Chicago, but your leg swelled up in the plane. That happens. What if last year Bill Belichick called you up and he was like, "Hey, Pat, we got a kicking situation here. We got no Gusto."
Not bad. Not a bad impression there by Ben. That popped. Anytime a punter or kicker gets hurt, I get a lot of mentions. They're testing me immediately upon arrival. And when that Bears thing happened, I think that was the first time I didn't pee THC for like maybe 10 years. So that is something that would have to happen. I would just need probably, I think 18 days heads up is what I would need. So, I don't know. Evan in San Diego, what's going on, pal?
What's going on, Pat? my question for you is, should we blame these elite humans for sacrificing time with loved ones later in their careers to continue playing the sport that they love?
That's very interesting because it brings a lot of people happiness. It brings a lot of money. It brings a lot of stories and everything like that. For instance, Drew Brees right now has he has a beautiful family. You saw them on the stage at the Super Bowl when they beat us. I'll ask him about that. Should we blame them? No, because it's their life. They're allowed to do whatever they want. But I think the overwhelming sentiment by a lot of these players that end up being greats is always like, I probably shouldn't have spent that much time focusing on a craft, but the grass isn't always greener too. Whenever you play a sport and you become an elite at it and you focus on it and you make all this money, you're affording the family and the loved ones in life that they probably would have never had without it. So it's a fine balance, and everybody's situation is different, but I do think it is something that could potentially be thought about, especially with the passing of Kobe Bryant. Whenever players of all sports are going to make decisions on whether or not they should continue to have their sole focus be on a sport and being a professional athlete, or retire, spend more time with their family, and try to catch up the times that they lost.
Well, and I think that's why it's such a big deal, is because it transcends sports. Like, we talk about sports because we watch it, we consume it so much, but like this stuff happens in the business world everywhere. Yeah. Like, everyone goes through this type of stuff.
What's that movie? Bill Murray. It's a Christmas movie. He's who? Scrooge, yeah. I think that's the movie where he drives everybody to work at Christmas and everything like that. It's a real thing, you know? I think it's in all walks of life about where do you spend and focus the effort, emotion, and time on. And I think it's something that more people will think about. And I love that more people are thinking about it, including me. I think it's a real conversation to be had. Now, granted, I don't have any children. I have 7 pets. One of them poops all over the house. But, like, you know, enjoying the finer things, the things that really mean things in life, I think is something that's going to come out of this entire Kobe Bryant passing, as it should. This life is to be lived. Tomorrow is not a given, but this next hour is, and I don't know how it's going to be. We don't have Matthew Slater. We'll probably have some phone calls. We'll talk about the news of the day. We can't thank you enough on this Wednesday, January 9th, 2020, for listening to the Pat McAfee Show. We'll see you on the other side.
It's the perfect occasion for a little vacation from the heart of the nation. Not your medication, 2 hours of magic. Let's give it a go. Ladies and gents, it's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show.
Yes, it is, Chase Rice. You Bachelor legend, you. Chase Rice is the handsome country singer that you saw on Bachelor on Monday night, who was asked to perform a concert on The Bachelor at about the same time his album was to be released. I assume he thought this was going to be the biggest break of his entire life, getting on this national show. He's handsome. A lot of ladies watch The Bachelor. The song was about being, romantic. Boom! The Bachelor producers set him up. He was set to sing a private concert for The Bachelor in a date, and in his eyes, he had no idea who it was going to be. It turned out to be his ex-girlfriend, much to the chagrin of herself. The only person that was happy about the whole thing was the damn Bachelor, who called it the dream date of his life. He had no idea the girl that he was currently dancing with on a stage 10 feet away from Chase Rice Country Music, very attractive, romantic man, was actually her ex-boyfriend. Thanks to him for giving us that intro for free. He's releasing another part of his album, the album part 2, I think in the next coming weeks or months. We're hoping the intro makes the cut. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here in Indianapolis, Indiana, Wednesday, January 29th, 2020. I'm joined by all the boys here. Boston Connor's here, facing down inevitable end of a dynasty for the New England Patriots.
Yep.
Gumpy's here from Canada, still illegally. Nick Moraldo's here. Diggs is here. Ty's here. Jason's here. Zito's here. Foxy's here. And Todd is on the phones, 1-833-622-3331. I believe all the phone lines are filled. We appreciate you. Took a couple calls in the first hour. They stunk, but it wasn't that bad. Also got a chance to talk to Mark Ingram and Booby Miles Sanders, both running backs. Mark Ingram, obviously, of the Baltimore Ravens, previously of the Saints and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Yep. And Miles Sanders, previously of Penn State, rookie, up for the Pepsi Rookie of the Year with the Eagles. Great conversations with them. The thing with Mark Ingram that was interesting to me is he talks about how they obviously think that only a couple plays were the difference of that Titans game. And obviously they went 0 for 4 on fourth downs. I'd assume that's what it was. They were very excited to get back in there next year. And he kept talking about how Tampa Bay next year, that's all they're focused on, Tampa Bay, Tampa Bay, Tampa Bay. I love that mindset that's coming out. I've never been on a team that did that. All of my teams were like, hey, we got to win our division first, and then we'll figure out how to get there. But the ultimate goal is obviously win the Super Bowl. I like the fact that the Baltimore Ravens immediately reset and said, hey, although we had a terrible ending to this miraculous year, we're back next this year better than ever. I'm pumped for them to do that. And Booby Miles Sanders, he said he's going to freestyle his award-winning speech if he gets it. I said that's an aggressive decision. I'm excited to see how it works out. He had 3 chains on. I'm excited for him to live his life. A couple news that we talked about in the first hour. Rest in peace to Mr.
Chris Dolman.
Chris Dolman of the Minnesota Vikings passed away last night of brain cancer. And also other news that we had in the first hour.
Oh, boy, I deleted it.
Oh, no.
Coach K.
Coach K.
Coach
K. So Coach K chewed out the Cameron Crazies because they chanted "Sit with us" to the Pitt head coach, which is named
Jeff Capel.
Jeff Capel, who used to play for the Duke Blue Devils. Coach K basically stormed out on the court, started yelling at the Cameron Crazies about having respect. Turns out they chant that to every single coach that comes back. He has since apologized to the Cameron Crazies for overreacting. In the first hour, we all agreed that that was a little bit of an overreaction to that type of thing. We talked about Rob Gronkowski. Rob Gronkowski was holding a press conference yesterday at the Super Bowl, which a lot of press was around him, by the way. It wasn't like he was doing Radio Row. He had his own press conference yesterday because he's a Fox Sports analyst now at this point, and Fox is hosting the Super Bowl, and he had this to say.
And can you shed any light on his future? And
You know, I really haven't talked to Tom like that. You know, I did talk to him though after the game, and just talked. You know, it wasn't even all about football. Some of it was just about life and all. But I truly believe that he deserves the opportunity to go explore, to see what's out there. I mean, he's been playing for so long, and just the way that he's been playing, just the level he's been playing at, I mean, he definitely deserves an opportunity to go out there and test the market. I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean, you've never done it before in your career, and he's going to be a free agent for the first time ever, so good for him. Go test out the market and then do what's best for himself. That's the decision that he has to make, is what's best for himself, what's best for his family, what he feels like he's going to love. So that's all up to Tom, and he's a grown man, and he'll be able to make that decision on his own.
Would it be strange to see him in a different uniform, though, non-Patriots uniform?
It's always strange. I mean, no matter who the player is, if you see a player play on a team for 10 years and go to another team, it's always strange at first. But, everyone gets used to it after a little bit. But it would definitely be strange, I would say, if that happens for a couple of weeks. It may be strange. So, but everyone adapts. So, like any other time it happens.
I am done with that guy. Are you kidding me?
You just had to listen to that back. Obviously, Connor Campbell, massive masshole and a big-time Patriots fan who is slowly watching this team that he has grown up with. How old are you?
24.
So for the last 20 years, since the age of 4, he has watched this dynasty just dominate the NFL. He loves football, played football at a few different high schools.
Whoa.
So the sport that he loves, the team that he loves, for most of his life has been dominant. I think that can be said about a lot of New England Patriots fans at this point. Yes, Jerry Thornton and the older Patriot heads that are out there speaking, they talk about the days where it was gloom and doom for the Patriots, but for the last 2 decades, the New England Patriots have been nothing short of dominant. They have been nothing short of impressive. They have been a dynasty that will never happen again. And now, in this offseason, starting in 2020, it appears as if the pieces to the puzzle are just falling out of place, as if Thanos was to snap a finger. And Boston Connor Campbell has to watch this. A guy who made a living and a lot of success and had a blast as a New England Patriot, who's good friends with Tom Brady, is now saying that he believes his friend should test the waters of free agency, which, by the way, every single human outside of New England thinks that Tom Brady should do, including ex-players. All ex-players are telling Tom Brady, you've taken team-friendly deals for far too long. Why don't you go ahead and see if anybody else wants a piece of you? Now, you got to remember, whenever you mention there, you've seen guys play for teams for 10 years, and then when they change jerseys, it's a little bit weird. Happened with Peyton Manning. Now you only see Peyton Manning in a Denver Broncos jersey. Only. Whenever people put a picture up of Peyton Manning, it's in a Denver Broncos jersey. Everybody knows he was an Indianapolis Colt, but won a Super Bowl with the Denver Broncos, broke a lot of records there. Was it weird? Yes, but now it's almost became normal. Another guy that left New England after getting franchise tagged 3 times in a row, who I believe was told by numerous people, including his agent, that there's probably not a lot of interest in you in the market. Adam Vinatieri left New England becomes an Indianapolis Colt after becoming the all-time leading scorer, I think, for the Patriots. After 10 years, comes to the Indianapolis Colts, wins a Super Bowl immediately, and I would argue everybody is very comfortable with him being an Indianapolis Colt. Everything Gronk said there is very accurate. Would it be weird for the first couple weeks watching Tom Brady play for another team? I think so. But if he has any success at all, it'll be quickly forgotten. Congratulations to the Los Angeles Chargers. Congratulations to the Las Vegas Raiders. Congratulations to the Chicago Bears. Congratulations to the Indianapolis Colts. Congratulations to the Carolina Panthers. Congratulations to all these teams. Whenever somebody from the inner circle of Tom, which isn't a big one, Gronkowski, I believe, is in the inner circle of Tom, is saying, hey, he's telling him, like, just go see what's out there, bub. Just go see what's out there. Why not? That can't be good for Patriots fans, but I think it's good for a lot of other teams that are currently in the market for a quarterback.
Connor, I've lived a long life.
Oh, yeah?
And I've learned one thing.
What's that?
Don't be sad because it's over. Be happy because it happened. And that's just all I can say to you. But you were saying that a lot of players are saying, Tom, go ahead. The one player ex-player that is Joe Montana is saying to stay with the New England Patriots.
Yeah, Joe Montana sells Skechers as well. He went from 49ers to Chiefs, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And then he took the Chiefs to the AFC Championship game. And I would assume something happened. Well, is that accurate?
Yeah, he didn't want to leave, though. They kind of forced him out.
Because Steve
Young
was there. Right.
Yeah, so I think that's a little bit different circumstance. Now, granted, could have been the same there with Jimmy G, which it looked like it was starting to be, potentially. And I think Joe Montana is probably taken care of by a lot more by the 49ers faithful than he is by the Chiefs faithful. But right now, Peyton Manning, he goes to Denver, king. He comes to Indianapolis, statue. That's the type of thing that could happen. Although I respect Joe Montana and everything he's done, and I think Tom Brady respects and appreciates Joe Montana a lot, so those words probably mean a lot for him. But it's a different time, different situation, different era, and boy, this team that I've enjoyed watching, just navigate the rocky waters of the NFL, somehow figure out a way to win without many pieces in play, is just all slowly. Dan Orlovsky said it this morning on Get Up, who looks very thin, by the way. Dan Orlovsky is very thin. I don't think the guy's had a sandwich in a while. He looks very good. His brain is a good one. He reaffirmed the fact, by the way, the Chiefs are going to win this weekend, which makes me feel good because I bet a lot of money on them. Not that I don't disrespect the Niners. I respect the Niners. I just think that offense is so good. And the defense is damn good over there, too. And their punter, Colquitt's damn good and Bucker's good. Just like, I think this is a very good matchup. I just like the Chiefs. Orlovsky basically told me that RPOs have been a problem for the 49ers. And Patrick Mahomes can run the RPO, and he's a mobile quarterback. So, nevertheless, Dan Orlovsky said he doesn't see how Tom Brady sticks around at this point. In the Patriots, right, this decision has to be made by what, March 16th or whatever? Just like Drew Brees' decision has to be made by March 16th. What could the Patriots possibly do from now till March 16th? The offensive line coach is gone. Special teams coach, who Rob Gronkowski said is one of the smartest people he's ever been around, gone. One of his good friends now, Rob Gronkowski, is telling him to go test the waters. I mean, Julian Edelman's hopping on cars. I mean, a lot of things are happening. It feels as if this is the end, and it's just, it's very sad. I'm very sad.
Oh, it's sad for you? You're really sad?
It's very, very sad.
How great must it feel for Brady, though, to be told you were just a piece of the puzzle all these years, and now you get to go hear from all these other teams how great
He's
you
getting
are.
Courted. He's going to get recruited.
It's well-deserved.
He deserves it, absolutely. I don't disagree with that. He deserves to test the waters, but at the end of the day, come back home. Let's not be foolish here.
We got to get to a break.
I have a question for you.
Yeah, buddy.
If he goes somewhere else and doesn't win, let's say he goes somewhere and plays 2 or 3 more years, do you think of it as like a failure, or do you think he's accomplished so much already?
We won't remember it.
Right.
In the grand scheme of things, we won't remember it. But I don't think Tom Brady's going to go anywhere and fail.
I might remember it.
Well, you think like Franco Harris left at the end of his career, went to Seattle.
Nobody
remembers him
knows.
as a Seahawk.
Nobody
Richard
knows.
Seymour left New England, was a Raider. We forget
Nobody
that.
knows. Yeah. Nobody will remember it later in life. Nobody will talk about it, but I don't think Tom Brady's going to go anywhere where there's going to be a chance for failure.
Well, and on the flip side, he may go to L.A., the Chargers win to, and no one even remembers he was ever a Patriot. You know?
Jeez, relax over there, all right? Relax.
When was the last time you were driving through a storm and thought,
damn it!
Those exact words.
Bro, Peyton Manning is always shown in the Broncos.
Always.
We deserve this.
Who?
All other fans
He's
of
a
the
big
NFL.
Dolphins fan. He could be in Miami. Congratulations to the Miami Dolphins.
When was the last time you were driving through a storm, huh?
You're in the middle of that storm right now, pal.
I'm in the thick of it.
Yeah. When's the last time you were driving through a storm and thought, wow, I love not being able to see a damn thing when I drive? You probably haven't. Now driving in bad weather doesn't have to be a headache thanks to the new Michelin Endurance XT silicone wiper blades. These blades last through everything. To prove it, Michelin just put their new Endurance XT silicone wiper blades to the ultimate test on a world record-breaking 16,000-mile drive from Alaska to Argentina. Didn't even know you could do that. There's Pan-American highways, by the way, that make it happen. Good for them. To show just how durable these blades are, Rainier Zeitlo was the man behind the wheel, and he put the Michelin Endurance XT silicone wiper blades through ice, snow, rain, thunder, and wind, and the blades took all of it. When Rainier Zeitlo gets behind the wheel, things are important.
For sure.
These blades are crafted for extreme weather and performance with an advanced Quad-Tech 4-layer coated silicone that repels water, snow, and ice and lasts 2 times longer than the other blades. The Michelin Endurance XT silicone wiper blades are real-world proven for extreme weather performance. Upgrade to the Michelin Endurance XT silicone wiper blades today only at Walmart. Only at Walmart. Go pick those up. See clear through the storm.
Trying to.
Doesn't matter where Tom Brady plays next year. When you're driving through a storm, you should be able to see perfectly clear. Thanks to Michelin XT Endurance Wiper Blades. You can do that right now. 15 minutes after the second hour, we'll get some phone calls on the other side, some news that we missed, and other things. You're listening to the Pat McAfee Show. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. We have breaking news. Connor Campbell thinks that any quarterback could have played quarterback for the Patriots for the last 20 years and had the same amount of success. Is that not what you just said?
Blasphemy. This is all slander. I did not say that.
You said we are good as long as we have Bill Belichick. That is all that matters, which is implying the fact that if you had Bill Belichick and any quarterback was there, that the Patriots could have been just as good.
I just don't think that we're going to go from what we were to a 4-12 team or a 3-13 team. I still have faith in the system.
Now, here's the question to be asked about the Patriots. We just asked it about Tom Brady. If Tom Brady goes elsewhere and does not have success, will we talk about it or remember it down the road? The answer is no, because a lot of great players have transferred teams at the end of their careers and not done great. I mean, it happens on a regular basis. It gets wiped clean because of all the great times that they had. But the question now is, if the Patriots turn out to not be great after Tom Brady leaves, will people talk about Bill Belichick not having success for the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years if it's not as great when Tom Brady was there? Will they say Bill Belichick couldn't have done it without Tom Brady as opposed to Tom Brady couldn't have done it without Bill Belichick? That's a question I'd like to ask you, masshole.
I'd say no, just because we're still going to remember what Bill Belichick was able to do. But yeah, it still makes me very nervous to think about that possibility.
I agree. It's possible. I think Bill Belichick is one of the smartest humans to ever walk this earth, including in the football. What's up?
Whose reputation is tarnished more if they separate and
Belichick.
they don't do well?
Belichick. Greatest coach of all time, in my eyes. Greatest coach of all time. Like, unbelievably good at coaching football. The way he was able to, this is kind of what Jorge Masvidal said to Rich Eisen yesterday about Conor McGregor. He said whenever he watches Conor McGregor fights, he just sees numbers and he sees openings. He sees ways to attack Conor McGregor that probably you and I don't see, right? Jorge Masvidal watches that fight and just goes, I would obliterate that guy because he can't do this, which I don't know. I don't know if that's true, but the way he's speaking is basically how Bill Belichick has made his entire incredible coaching career here. Bill Belichick pieces teams apart, sees what they're good at, what they're not good at, and then just divide and conquer at that point. Now, do other coaches do that? Probably. Kyle Shanahan has done that. I think there's a lot of people that have been able to. McVay was able to do. All good coaches are able to do that, but nobody's been able to do it to Bill Belichick's extent. So with that in mind, you would think if they get another good quarterback, he'd still be able to do what he's been able to do, and eliminating the other teams, make them play left-handed, make it, all that stuff. But if they don't have success, if Bill Belichick doesn't have success without Tom Brady, the conversation will immediately flip to the thing like, oh, yeah, he was able to do it because he had the greatest football player of all time on his team. And then you'll hear other jealous coaches that didn't have this situation say, I could have done it if I had Tom Brady too. Instead, if Bill Belichick goes on to have a great success without having the greatest player of all time on his team, then it's obviously deserved for everything and warranted that we've said about him.
I have nothing to say. I don't know what to say to you guys. I have no idea what I can say to get you off my back about this. But Belichick will still be Bill Belichick at the end of the day.
And so will Tom. Let's get to some news that we didn't get to in the first hour. Nick, what's going on in the world?
I have a question first. Has any head coach won a Super Bowl with a different quarterback on the same team? Multiple Super Bowls. I don't know. I'm just asking. Something to think about.
I have no idea.
Parcells, maybe?
I have no idea.
Not sure.
Let's move forward. News.
Penn National Gaming is buying a minority stake in Barstool Sports for $136 million, a deal that values the company at $450 million.
Massive congratulations to Dave Portnoy, Erica Nardini, and all of the people at Barstool Sports. This story is one of the American dream, if you really think about it. Dave Portnoy was hustling newspapers on corners of the streets of Boston after quitting from a job that he didn't enjoy to pursue this thought. Now they're being valued at $450 million just in the sports talk world. Very, very happy for Dave, Erica, the Chernin Group, all the people at Barstool. This is massive for them. Good for Penn Gaming getting involved and getting it. And honestly, this is the American dream to the epitome with Dave Portnoy. He was quoted this morning as saying, I have unlimited money. Good for him. Congrats to them. I am very, as a person that was a stoolie before I became an employee, before we became an employee, and now that we're doing our own thing, nothing but happy for them, good for them. And I can't wait to see how that money is spent and used because Dave will do it in fantastic fashion.
Chiefs offensive lineman Laurent Duvernay-Tardif is about to become the first medical doctor to play in the Super Bowl.
Oh, holy hell. What's his name?
Laurent Duvernay-Tardif. He earned his degree of medicine from McGill University in Canada in 2018. He's in the midst of a 5-year, $42 million contract with the Chiefs.
Now with free healthcare in Canada, do you guys just hand out doctors?
Yes.
That's what I was thinking too.
Can it, because it's free healthcare, so they probably need more doctors up there. So I would assume that. Now, granted, I'm not saying it's an easy thing to become a doctor up there, but I feel
Diggs
like
did. You didn't.
I did.
What's that?
It seems easy to become a doctor in Canada.
Well, they need all the doctors.
There's a shortages for sure. It's you cannot get. It's hard if you try now. You can't get your own personal GP.
What is that?
You're like your own family doctor. You have to go to clinics.
Okay, so in Canada, the free healthcare thing is something that is talked about a lot, especially here in America. They go, well, Canada's got free healthcare. Well, they have like an eighth of our population and all that stuff. But how is the free healthcare up there? You say you can't go. I don't know what a GP is.
It's just like having your own family doctor. So you have to go. If you go to a clinic where I'm from or the hospital emergency, you're there for 6 to 8 hours at least.
That's here too.
No, 6 to 8.
I feel like
Diggs, when was the last time you did any of that to know that?
Tony's
answer?
just bashing everything that's being said right now.
Well, that's his thing. That's kind
you go to the ER, you wait.
No, I was in and out 2 hours last time I went and had a bunch of tests done.
Yeah, this
6
guy
to
almost had
8.
a stroke.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a brain test. So
seems like a lie.
But congratulations to this guy. By the way, the ability to compartmentalize schooling in football and be elite at both, big brain and good at football, only a couple people have really been able to do it because the amount of work it takes to do both is massive. Good for him, Doc. I hope he does well.
I'm actually halfway through my online degree to be a doctor in Canada. I will be a podiatrist in 7 months.
Congrats to one of the top podcast hosts in America for also being a doctor in Canada.
And a figure of health.
Yes, a picture of fitness, Todd McComas.
Grand Valley State University's offensive coordinator Morris Berger has been suspended after speaking to the school's newspaper. He was asked which 3 historical figures he would want to take to dinner, excluding famous athletes.
And he was what?
His answers to the question of which 3 historical figures he'd want to take to dinner.
Hold on, he got suspended, this guy?
Suspended for his answer.
Okay.
First up, he said you have to go JFK, his experience with the country.
Hey, who'd you make mad, by the way?
Mafia.
Yeah.
Being that he was a good president, everything. His second answer, he said, and this is a quote, and this might sound crazy, but Christopher Columbus.
Oh, Christopher Columbus. I mean, I think the more and more that comes out, the guy did a lot of falsehoods and bad things.
He has a day.
But he does have a day, and, I mean, I'm sure there's some stories to be told around dinner.
He justified it with the ability to go on the journey he was on and his emotion into the unknown. Think about putting yourself in that situation and then take it all in as you arrive is just crazy.
That is kind of crazy. I mean, everybody told him the world was flat, and he said, I don't have much to live for. I'll go sail off.
I mean, you could also lie a lot when nobody could fact check you with the internet.
That kind of seems like part of our history at this point now. And the third person?
The third, the coup de grace, he said, this is probably not going to get a good review, but I'm going to say Adolf Hitler.
Oh, jeez!
To kill him?
His reasoning was it was obviously very sad and he had bad motives, but the way he was able to lead was second to none.
Oh, my. Who is this guy?
Morris Berger. He was the offensive coordinator at Grand Valley State.
He sounds German.
How he rallied a group and a following, I want to know how he did that. Bad intentions, of course, but you can't deny he was a great leader.
Well, he brainwashed offensive coordinator. That's how he did it. You also want to sit down with maybe Kim Jong-un. What a buffoon this guy is. How about this guy, though? He was coaching kids. He was coaching people. He said, you know what I want to learn how to do? I want to start a world war with these kids. I would like to sit down with Adolf. What a buffoon that guy is. What's his name?
Morris Berger.
Okay, so they each got worse there. JFK, like, all right, who'd he make mad? Let's find out. Christopher Columbus, okay, I can see how you'd want to talk to him about potentially Adolf Hitler. What a dumb that guy.
Burst through that sea gap like Hitler would.
You know, Hitler once said, what is this guy?
What a buffoon.
What an idiot. Not to poison his meal or anything like that. Like everybody says, if you have a time machine, what would you do? And the notorious number one answer is like, I'd go back and I'd kill baby Hitler. Like that's what a lot of people say. I'd go back and I'd figure out a way to drop kick baby Hitler. And I know he was probably cute at the time and the people loved him, but what he was going to become is some terror. This guy's like, no. Let's talk about leadership.
Grand Valley's a D2 powerhouse in football, too.
Well, they're trying to brainwash kids. What an idiot. Let's go to Keaton in Las Vegas. Keaton, what's going on, pal?
Good morning, Pat. You said you placed a handsome bet on the Chiefs, and I hope you win every time you bet on my team. But on the off chance that Pat Mahomes isn't the player of the game, who do you think wins Super Bowl MVP on the Chiefs?
Pat Mahomes wins Super Bowl MVP regardless of how often he is used. He'll be used a lot, but he will win Super Bowl MVP. Let me tell you why. They are about to pay him $200 million. To justify them paying him $200 million, not only does he have to pass the optic test, which he already has being an absolute baller, but him being a Super Bowl MVP already makes it a much easier case to say, hey, we're going to give this guy all the money. It happens with most quarterbacks. Whenever they get in there for the first time and they're the franchise player, they give them the Super Bowl MVP regardless whether or not they deserve it. Now, the Patriots, after you win 5 or 4, you start giving them a round and things like that. And I very much understand there's cases where it hasn't happened. But in this particular case, they're about to break bank on Patrick Mahomes. Being a Super Bowl MVP is another thing to add to the resume whenever you read off why you're giving a guy $250 million. That's just the way the game goes.
And it's not like he's going to win the MVP if they win.
Yeah, he's going to win.
I was trying to think of another option. They're not going to run the ball enough for someone else to win.
If they win the game, it's because of Mahomes.
Yes.
Agreed. Completely agreed. Let's go to Darian down there in Venice, Florida. What's going on, Darian?
How we doing, boys?
Not too shabby, thanks. How are you?
Doing great. So a little bit of inside information here, not breaking news, but I was up in Tampa this weekend and went through a few sports stores, and they were littered with Jameis Winston jerseys on clearance. So I'm not saying it, but Tampa might be out on Jameis. If Tampa...
Well, his contract's up, right? So the stores are going to get ahead of this to sell the thing early. But remember, all signs are pointing to Jameis Winston and the Buccaneers probably not getting a deal done, right? He's expecting, $30 million a year, he said?
30 to 35.
I'm balling. They're not going to franchise tag him because the top 5 quarterbacks are making a lot of money. We said on this show that we enjoyed watching Jameis Winston play this year, as did most of the world, because he was the only quarterback in the NFL that 100% controlled whether or not his team won or if the other team won. The 30-30 club is not one that people desire to be in, but he broke a lot of records this year, threw for a lot of yards, which you do in the Bruce Arians offense. The Bruce Arians offense is one that can be a bit confusing with route concepts and stuff like that, so you can see how he could throw interceptions and such. But we thought Jameis Winston could take a 2-year, 3-year deal. Same thing we're thinking about Tannehill, by the way. $20 million, maybe $22 million, which is a boatload of money. That is generational wealth. Prove that he won't throw as many interceptions as he throws touchdowns, move forward in the offense, have some success. But instead he came out and says he wants the max pay deal like Patrick Mahomes is getting. And for me, I just don't know if Bruce Arians is going to be the guy to say, yeah, let's do that. Because Bruce Arians has had success with that offense that he's had with every single quarterback that he's had. Every single one. So I assume Bruce Arians is thinking, listen, I like Jameis Winston. I took this job because of Jameis Winston. He told us that down to the Super Bowl last year. He took the job because of Jameis Winston. But if Jameis Winston is going to hamper our entire development of this roster because of the massive salary cap hit he wants to take, instead of maybe a team-friendlier deal, improve himself in the next couple of years, I can do this with another quarterback. People are saying Phillip Rivers is going to be in town. People are saying these other things. I think it's something where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are not going to invest top dollar in Jameis Winston. Even though he's a good quarterback, I don't want this stupid troll account coming after me. I think Jameis is a good quarterback. I think he's grown exponentially in this offense, but I don't think he's at the point where he should be expecting and demanding the dollars that Patty Mahomes or these others could potentially be getting.
Do you think Tampa could be a potential landing spot for Brady, or is that not attractive enough for him?
So in Bruce Arians' offense, it's 5-step, 7-step drops, and you're going to get hit. I don't think that's Tom Brady's style.
Need a deep ball, too, in that Tampa offense.
What are you saying?
What are you saying? Now you're saying
Tom.
No.
We
all know.
I mean, I wasn't going to say
If
it.
you've watched any football of Brady in the past 2 years, he does not have the deep ball.
He has no weapons. No one to throw to.
Did he have any weapons to do it?
Yeah,
Who's he
well,
got to throw to?
With Gronk, he still could not have the deep ball.
Gronk
that he
is
used
the
to.
deep ball threat?
He can't. I'm telling you, a 50-yard ball it was struggling for Brady.
I just don't see a bar.
Why are you doing this to Tom Brady?
I'm not doing anything to Tom Brady. I'm being realistic about his throwing ability.
Man, if he wasn't going to leave yet, he sure as hell is now.
This is the voice of Patriots fans, by the way. Right here, this guy. Go ahead, Gumpy.
I just don't see a bargaining chip for Jameis for another team that's going to pay him.
I don't think anybody's going to pay him $30-some million.
Nah.
No.
Anybody.
Didn't
Especially
Bruce
now.
say I'll do it with anybody?
Well, yeah, but I guess it was kind of taken out of context the way he said it. I think something was added because I think he said, we did it with him, we could do it with someone else. But the way it was added in the headline was, if we could do it with him. They added the if word, which I guess he didn't say, right? But in Bruce Arians' defense, He has literally done this with every single quarterback he's ever had. Andrew Luck's rookie year broke all the records. I mean, that's just what he did. You have to have a quarterback, though, that's very intelligent. You have to have a quarterback. I think Jameis Winston was able to pick up an offense that is not easy to pick up in a much quicker rate than many other people can do. But I don't see another team going, you know what? Hey, go back to the Bucs. Let them know we'll pay $29 million a year or something like that. I just don't know. Now, there are a lot of places that need quarterbacks. And if you look at the draft, what do you got? Joe Burrow, sorry. You got Joe Burrow. Tua, who everybody, including us, is expecting a redshirt year so he can come back from a terrible injury. He's had 4 surgeries in 2 years. You have that Air Bear kid. You have the kid from Utah State, I believe, as well. There's like 4 or 5 draft picks that are potentially going to be really good quarterbacks in the NFL this year. And I assume there'll be somebody that comes out of nowhere like it does all the time. But if you look around the league, who you got? You got Tom Brady. Maybe Cam Newton. The Carolina Panthers are going to do a full evaluation of him soon with a full workout. I assume that's not only for them to think about keeping him, but also to tell other teams, like, hey, he's in a good spot. He's good for potential trade bait or whatever it is. Cam Newton, Alex Smith, Tom Brady, Phillip Rivers, and then those 4 guys in the draft. I don't think there's really many other quarterbacks out there. So I don't know.
Bridgewater,
Tannehill, Bridgewater.
Mariota, Keenum.
There's a lot of quarterbacks out there. I would be excited to see how it all works out. I'm not sure anybody's going to tell Jameis they're going to pay him top dollar, though. That's just reality. That's just absolute reality.
Well, and Carson Palmer struggled with the Raiders before he got to Arizona with Bruce Arians.
Yeah, it's just Bruce Arians' offense is built for success for the quarterback. You just got to have a certain type of quarterback. Got to have a great arm. He's got to be able to develop plays quickly. He's got to be able to see what's happening quickly. And then he's got to be able to sit in there and potentially take a massive shot. He's got to potentially take a massive shot. I think Jameis Winston did great this year. I just don't think that anybody's going to pay him that money. $30 million a year?
It's a lot of money.
30 picks.
Bro, is $20 million a year not enough?
It's good for me.
So much money.
So much. If I was getting paid $20 million a year, by the way, this would not happen. This show would not happen. If I was getting paid $10 million a year, this show would happen. If I was getting, they're like, he left $6 million on the table. It's like $6 million to some of these quarterbacks now is literally just like one touchdown pass.
Yeah, it's chump change for them.
Good for them. Now I goes grossly overpaid for what I was doing. But I think that's kind of the world that we live in the NFL. Is a lot of people are grossly overpaid. But to think that somebody's going to spend a quarter of their salary cap or a third, it doesn't make any sense to think that Jameis Winston. But the agent's got to do what the agent's got to do too. Let's go to Brandon Donner in H-Town, Houston, Texas. What's up, Brandon?
Hey, how you doing, Pat? How the boys doing?
Hey, we're not too bad down there. Hey, what's going on down there in H-Town?
Nothing much. You know, we're big chilling. So I got a question about Jimmy G.
Big chilling.
So you think that if Jimmy G goes to the Super Bowl, lays a complete egg, and then never gets anywhere close to the Super Bowl or even the championship for that matter, you think people start seeing him as a stooge and a sellout?
Not a bad sellout.
That wasn't a bad sellout at all there. That was pretty good. People are going to think this is about Jared Goff, I think. This is going to be something that's going to be talked about for Jared Goff. Jared Goff takes a massive payday after leading the Rams to the Super Bowl. They lose one of their most important offensive linemen. They lose a couple other weapons that they couldn't have. The team ultimately suffers. Jimmy G's already been paid. That team has been very well built by John Lynch. I don't know if Jimmy G lays an egg here, by the way. We're watching highlights of Jimmy G yesterday on TV. His passing, which they have not called upon yet, and the route concepts and the plays that Kyle Shanahan can develop for your quarterback, they haven't had to use any of them in the last month, right? So I'm sure Kyle Shanahan, just like, who said it yesterday? Jeff Garcia. Jeff Garcia told us yesterday, Kyle Shanahan's probably sitting on some plays that he's had that he hasn't had to use in the last couple weeks that could, potentially open up the pass game if they just completely take out the rush game. And I'm talking obviously about the Niners offense. But for me, when you see Jimmy G play and you show the highlights, just the highlights of him passing, hey, he can throw the ball.
He can spin it.
And that is something that has been forgotten because he's only thrown it, 24 times or whatever in the last 2 games. Everybody's coming after him like, oh, is he just a quarterback who is overpaid and doesn't have to do much? It's like, if the run game's working, let's just utilize the run game. It's in every single aspect of any type of competitive anything. If something's working and you're going to get a win doing it, there's no reason not to just hammer that thing home and get a big W. The highlights of Jimmy G yesterday made me very scared because this could be a game where Jimmy G just pops off out of nowhere, just has like a 32 for 36 game. He seems to be a guy who steps up into the limelight, enjoys himself, just like Patrick Mahomes does. I think Jimmy G is a great quarterback, set up for the long haul, and is contract is set up for the Niners too, to continue to build around him. I don't think Jimmy G will fall off the earth after this game. I think they're only getting started, but I don't think he's going to lay an egg, and I hope Patrick Mahomes doesn't either, because I bet a lot of money on him. I took 2 different spreads on him.
I mean, if you're rushing for 7.6 yards per carry, why would you throw the ball?
No, there's no rule that you have to throw it 25 times a game.
There's no reason to.
If you're getting 7.6 yards per pass, that is good.
Yes.
Yeah, if you're getting, by the way, if every single ball is a completion, guess what, running back? Just go ahead and pass protect, guys. We are throwing the ball every single time. If you're 186 yards before contact against that Packers team, which every single time I say that stat, Ty Schmidt almost pukes to himself. Why would you ever go away? And everybody's like, well, Jimmy G didn't have to do much. It's like, no, he didn't. You're 100% right. You know why? Because they built that team up in a beautiful fashion, even after paying him. So that's why I don't think he'll disappear. And I think he could pop off in his Super Bowl, and that kind of scares me.
They also knew. They knew, okay, very early it was apparent they can't stop this. We don't need to, end up throwing and have him make a mistake and throw a pick and change the momentum of this game. They cannot stop the run.
Imagine, Mostert or whatever talking to the offensive line in the huddle. He's just like, hey, boys, this is going to be a fun one today, isn't it? And the offensive line is just like, can't stop us. And I assume and I've never asked an offensive lineman, where they just feel like they're in a groove.
Oh, yeah.
Where I feel like they probably get in a zone. It's like whenever you're just picking up other professional athletes and just moving them wherever the hell you want to move them to, and then you got that freak George Kittle on the other side just picking up safeties and just dropping them on their back, and the running back is just skipping through holes. What a feeling that had to be in the NFC Championship to know that you're going to the Super Bowl. It had to be beautiful. We got to get to a break. 41 minutes after the second hour here. We'll take some more phone calls on the other side, 1-833-622-3331. We'll wrap up this beautiful Wednesday, January 29, 2020. This is the Pat McAfee Show. I have no clue why you're listening. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. Yet again, pounded the pavement for Elon Musk to create us a jetpack.
Saw that.
Every tweet he sends, know that I'll be the first one underneath it saying, yeah, that's cool. How about a jetpack? Yesterday he tweeted, I'd assume after hanging out with Joe Rogan again, that couches are underestimated or underrated or undervalued or something like that. And I agree. I have long said that beds also very, very underestimated, and maybe even the invention of pillows in general. There was a time in mankind where they sat on rocks and they sat on stumps, and then some guy said, you know what, I'm tired of it, I'm going to sit on something comfortable. That man was the Steve Jobs of his time. That man was the Elon Musk of his time. He could go to any village and do whatever he wanted because he created soft sitting. Chairs are underappreciated. Every single time he tweets, I will be right there underneath it saying, this is my exact tweet to him yesterday, I agree, man. Beds as well. How about just pillows in general? All incredible inventions. Speaking of, how about you create a jetpack? I will be the first person that Elon Musk reaches out to after he creates a jetpack because we have no other option in this world to create a good jetpack. The Zapata group over there in France has a jetpack from what I've been told. That thing's not going to come on the market for the next 400 years because they won't let it. I think Elon Musk is our only hope. I would like a jetpack immediately. Stat, by the way.
I mean, it just makes sense.
It's about time.
How have we not got here yet? How have we not got here yet? Back to the Future, were they on skateboards that are hovering?
Yeah. Those are cool too.
But I hope that if I respond under every single tweet when Elon Musk creates it and he has that big debut like he did with the Cybertruck, I'm right there next to him like
testing it out.
Yeah, you know what I mean? He's like, here's guy tweeted me every day. That alien dude. He's an alien. Zach from Eagle Grove, Iowa. Shout out Iowa.
I have no idea where Eagle Grove is.
I don't think he knows he's on a show right now.
Hey, Pat. My question for you, bud, is I know you were telling Miles Sanders about being prepared, to go a direction with his Rookie of the Year speech if he gets it. Are you prepared with a wedding speech when you have to give it?
Know that anytime I speak in front of a group of people, I normally will not have a piece of paper in front of me. I will not have anything. I think whenever people give wedding speeches and they read from a piece of paper, it loses all of its luster.
Mm-hmm.
Phil Maines, our CFO, is my best man. When I asked him to be my best man, he said yes. He was excited. I said the only thing is you cannot read your speech from a piece of paper. I've been at weddings where they read from the piece of paper, and the people obviously are scared to death to speak in front of a group of people. Then they're mumbling through the words, and it just loses all the passion. That's why I firmly believe in an outline in your brain, and this is how I speak for everything. I have an outline in my brain. I got to get from here to here. And if in here, in between the two spots, is going well, let's elaborate on it a little bit, and then let's get to the next point. And then if we get to the next point and it kind of stinks, let's get to that one quicker, and then let's move forward. There's always some sort of plan. I'm writing my own vows, too, for Sam.
Me too.
I'm writing my own vows. I don't think she wants to, though. Is that possible? I don't think I know enough about wedding. I think she just wants to do the basic-ass vows.
Yeah, I think she can just read the regular ones.
Yeah, but I definitely look like I'm much more in love than she does, right?
Oh, yeah.
Bingo.
It looks like I'm much more of a romantic than her if she's just reading the basic-ass vows while I go out there and give a heartfelt feeling of how I feel about this forever to go with her. I'm happy I'm more romantic than her.
Here's what you have to understand. You have a very elite brain. Most of us, I would say 90% of us, cannot remember the outline in our head.
Agreed. I agree. I understand. I very much understand. I very much understand. That's like Connor here. We tried to do NBA talk for 2 weeks. We tried to force it in. And Connor was like, I'll just remember it off the top of my head. Then he gets in there. He starts off great and then runs right into the hurdle. Everybody does it different. I do think, though, if you're going to speak in front of other people, I think you should have a plan of some sort. Not only so you don't look stupid, but so you don't ruin the lives of the people that have to listen to you. I mean, it stinks having to listen to somebody who stinks at speaking. And although you might not be set up to speak well, at least give yourself an opportunity. That's why those award show speeches, oh, my God. Just get off the stage. Just get off shut up. Just shut up. That's why I like that Billie Eilish girl and her brother. They went up there. Now, granted, 2 days before the Grammys happened, it was revealed that they're fake by one of their ex-employees. Yeah, I went on a burn the world down type tour. One of the ex-employees there.
What do you mean fake?
Said it's all just rigged. Like just one person picks
Yeah,
it
she's
all.
being pushed by the industry.
Oh, well, that's for sure. Yeah.
Well, that's all awards, by the way. All awards are fake. But if you win one, it at least makes you feel good. You know, it at least makes you feel good. So whenever they went up there, they were just like, yeah, we weren't planning on winning this. So we're not going to ruin your lives with a long, drawn-out thing. We're just going to say thanks and get the hell out of here. I think you should just, you should respect the moment, I think, in my eyes, and have a little bit of a preparation. Unlike Boston Common.
Nope. Nothing like it.
All right, let's get to Brian in Champaign, Illinois. Brian, good friend of the show, normally comes in with incredible merch ideas. I hope he's doing the same. Great to hear from you, Brian. Haven't talked to you in a while.
That's right, guys. It's foul ball owner, three-point shot maker, Brian in Champaign here. How are you?
Oh! Tagline. That sounds like that is a direct shot at Foxy, Brian. I respect that a lot. How's it going, brother?
It may or may not be a direct shot at Foxy, but I haven't seen that many bricks flying since the big bad wolf blew up the three little pigs.
Get to it, Brian.
One day when you make one, it is going to feel amazing, and you won't be able to miss from then on out.
And everyone's going to forget about all those misses.
Nope. So,
That's right.
Brian, we're going to have
That's
him shoot
right.
tomorrow, actually, and I think Connor's going to shoot as well.
Oh!
So get excited for an air ball and a brick.
You might have to fasten that rim down a little better.
Connor's actually got a pretty good shot. I think all they do is go to the YMCA every night and practice so that Zito and I don't
Didn't he
beat
break
them.
his elbow or arm or something there a while back and wasn't able to shoot?
No, that didn't happen.
All right, Brian, we got like a minute left.
All right, hey, I'll give you one merch idea. How about oversized all white towel with For the brand on it? Spring's coming up. Wouldn't look any better at the pool than a towel like that.
You know what? I'm a white towel user at the house, by the way. It just makes me feel as if it's softer and all that stuff.
Clean.
It's clean.
Well, in the black one in the sun by the pool, it's just going to attract all that heat. It's going to be too hot to lay on.
Smart. Brian, you got such a big brain. That's smart. We should do that. Phil's listening. Phil, let's make that happen. I'd like a big, soft, fluffy, For the brand white towel. Now, on sand, though, the white towel is a problem as well. Because if it gets a little dirty, you spill something, it's a nightmare. You're there for a trip. We'll figure it out. We'll work through the logistics. What a day today. Thanks to Mark Ingram and Booby Miles Sanders, and thanks to all of you that watched and listened from wherever the hell you're watching and listening from. We know there's a lot of other options. The fact you listen to us is crazy, to be honest. This is the Pat McAfee Show from Indianapolis, Indiana! I have no clue what's next. I hope it's better. Thank you, Don.